It's TNT time, and today we're chatting about a TikTok trend that's been growing for a couple of years now, which is sharing your toxic traits online. I really like this trend. So T, let's unpack this, okay? Let's chat about whether sharing our toxic traits makes us more authentic, but let's first start by sharing what our toxic traits are. I don't think either of us have any problem talking about, you know, how backward we are.
Yeah, because, well, I'll also, too, all the great things about myself as well, so.
Both, though. You're always very honest about, yeah, I can't do this, I don't like this, I do this well, I do this well, you know what I mean? So what would you say is your toxic trait?
You know this one very well. I need to be right at all times.
I said I was going to make her a shirt that said, what was it going to say? I'm right.
Yes,
and then
it's my
always.
favorite words. My favorite words. When people say to me, Tracy, you were right, and I'm like, I know about what? Like, that's just me. Like, I'm always like, that's my reaction to everything. It's like, honestly, the way I was raised, my mother's that way, my brother's that way, and, and I know you guys think I'm difficult.
Yeah.
I'm actually the weaker one in my family. Like, I lose everything, every argument to them. Everybody in my family has to be right.
Okay.
So I can't stand that trait in other people.
Yep.
So, like, when I see other people just hanging on to they have to be right, it drives me nuts. And I see it in my family, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, this is what I look like.
Yeah.
But I have that trait and I can't help it.
Okay, that's okay. We're always honest about it. I would say I have many toxic traits, but the one I would say right now on air would be that I feel like I will help people all the time, and I don't necessarily get that same help back. And I know exactly.
Oh, that was a reaction from the audience. They're like, we understand.
So here I am like, oh, I'll pay the bill for everybody, or I can help you with that. And I'm doing all these things, and then I'm mad because I don't get it back. But then why do I keep doing it?
So my question to you would be, what are you getting out of that?
I think I'm getting out of it, I feel like I'm basically feeling like I'm a good person for doing these things. So for me, it's like I get a rush out of feeling like I'm a good person. But am I a good person when I actually expect it back?
Exactly.
And why do I keep doing it? Why do I keep having to walk into the same wall like a million times?
Or having that same expectation.
And having the same expectation every single time. So what would you say you get out of being right?
I'm right. That's the rush I get, like, oh my God, I was right. But then I do feel bad afterwards when I see like that, like I pushed how right I was, and then everybody in the room's kind of like, we get it, like we're over it, like I'm annoyed with you already. And then I realize I went too far, but at that moment, I'm like, I was right.
Do you think it's a good thing when people talk about their toxic traits, and do you think it means they're more self-aware?
I do think it means they're more self-aware. If you can point out that these are traits that you have, but I mean, you can be self-aware, but still doesn't mean you change it. But
well, that's the next question.
I think that it is important to be self-aware that you do these things, right?
Yeah.
So maybe in certain situations, you can work really hard to try and not, you know, possess that trait in that moment. But I think it's good to be aware you do it. Because some people, they have toxic traits, and you talk to them, and you realize they have no idea that they're doing this,
and that's very annoying.
Right? Like, it's like, oh, you have no idea. But it is refreshing when you talk to people, and they're like, oh, I brag a lot. And I'm like, oh, you know you do that. Like, that's, oh, okay. And I feel like, well, like that's good. You know you're like that. You know my eyes are glazing over when you're bragging like that. And they do it anyway. So I think it's a good thing to know you do it. But does that make us stop?
No.
No.
Do you think posting it online is likely to get you to, like, start changing things? Like, if you post it, are you saying, yeah, I'm aware of this, I don't like it, and maybe I'm going to take steps towards changing it? Or are you saying, yeah, I don't like it, and I'm joining this trend, and I'm digging my heels into my toxic trait?
I think that, well, posting it probably... I'm torn because we're sharing too much. I mean, I think at this point, too, online, everybody's sharing a little bit too much. We're stripping ourselves down and sharing a little too much, right? We're getting out of control, right? But the upswing to that is that people can relate to you, right?
Yes.
So if I were to post that, there's somebody out there who would relate to it that maybe not feel so bad that they're like that. We kind of can't help who we are, and it also has to do with how we're raised. Well, I guess we can.
I think we can. I just don't think we have the will to do it.
Yeah, I don't care enough to change it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a fun discussion. You don't have to change it, but you need to be self-aware. That's the conclusion of this chat. And I love that you're always honest about it, T, because I think that that's an important first step to anything, like knowing who you are. So remember, if there's ever a topic you want to hear the two of us unpack, we're going to do it right here on the show. You can email it to submissions@cityline.tv.